Hello? Hello? How you doing? I'm back. It's not as much of an I told you so video as I would like it to have been. Almost 100%. Reasonable doubt 95%. We knew Pump was going to go to the floor. And today we're going to talk about, one, I want to talk about Pump, what the predictions I was sort of making on Twitter, how they came to unfold, and then compare it to its I'd say probably closest competitor at the moment, Bonk. If you don't know who Bonk is, they're basically the same thing as Pump Fun, just a little bit different, like everything in the degen space. And I wanted to sort of share some light on how I think the existing meme coin trend is sort of evolving, where it's going, what it could actually be, those sorts of things. But first, let's take a look at the chart. The chart is bad. Oh my. It's not looking good. It's really not looking good. Maybe it might even be worth starting or panning over quickly to our predictions we were making on Twitter a couple of weeks ago, just before they launched. So this is my post here. We can see July 10th, Pump.Fun, a breakdown of why the $4 billion token is going down the proverbial shitter. What did we say? Made some comments on the token allocation breakdown, was not really happy with them. The team percentage was on borderline too much. The ICO was borderline too high. Everything felt like it was pushed to the absolute max of where you should push a launch. The valuation was just insane. Perhaps it was a valuation multiple based on some of the fees that they've been generating, but I still think 4 billion was much, much too high. Liquidity was a huge concern of ours. I mean, really, if you think about why liquidity is so important, it's like, it's the lifeblood of your token. And I know that these guys have smart people on their team. They wouldn't have been able to do what they've done if they didn't have smart people. And yet this was something that I think was hugely overlooked. This is where things get a little bit juicy. So I mentioned that I thought they were making the liquidity thin, because if you have thin liquidity and you have a huge amount of buy volume and buy pressure, you get a price pump. This is just par for the course, basic economics, right? Thin liquidity, you have a ton of people interested in buying the asset. Each time a buy comes into the pool, it pushes price slightly up. And so if you have a lot of this happening at once, it can really quickly push price up and up and to the right. And so my thinking at the time was that Pump Fun was trying to engineer an artificial pump off launch. This is done and practiced by a lot of projects. Where you fall on the ethical fence is totally up to you. But it is something that is done. And as much as I wasn't 100% certain that this is exactly what was happening, I did think that this could have been happening. On the reverse of this, though, when you have thin liquidity and a ton of sell pressure, this creates a price dump. So instead of a pump, you see a price dump. I then said, everything about this analysis of this token tells me it's dumping straight to zero. So, to be fair, if we look at the tracker, it launched at about 0.004.005 in price on the 14th and started crumbling by the 16th. So it didn't go to zero on day one. It did go to zero on day two. And it's trending towards it. Continue to just, I mean, look at this. This is, we got ice skating here, fellas. We go skiing down the slopes. All the way down. That's where this token's going. Down the slopes. So I like, it was like a 99% call is probably, I think I can take credit for that. I knew it was going, I had a feeling it was going to pump. I had a feeling Pump Fun were trying to artificially pump the price. And then I knew it was going to dump. There's just no way price discovery wasn't going to occur in the negative direction. And if you put a short out, even if you put the short out at 0.005, where it technically launched from, you'd be well in profit territory, especially if you've levered up. Fairly certain, I'd be surprised if Hyperliquid wasn't offering this. That was the prediction. That's what came out. It was just basic token economic theory. That's how you do it. I also thought it was pretty embarrassing that they didn't do a fair launch and that they did a huge private sale and then they did another big sale and would have made so much money that to them, this initial price dump probably doesn't mean much. It's just unfortunate for retail and for those who would have bought at 0.007. Moving on, The next thing I wanted to think about today and talk about is Pump Fun's competitor, Bonk Fun. So I wanted to bring it up because I like the idea of what Bonk Fun is doing. They don't have nearly as much baggage as Pump Fun is currently carrying around. I mean, Pump Fun, they're in the middle of a RICO lawsuit. They're doing all sorts of crazy stuff when it comes to trying to get beyond this huge suit. And they've been through this streaming period where people were sort of, burning flags and doing all sorts of salutes. Bonk Fun doesn't have that same sort of cultural baggage. And so I think that's why Bonk Fun initially just sort of resonates with me more, but are seeing more transaction volume than Pump Fun at the moment. It's been trending up and to the right. Last time I saw, I believe Bonk was somewhere around 300 million in daily transaction volume, and Pump Fun are a fraction of that. Big win. Big win. Big win. They're doing some cool stuff. Like I do like Bonk. I feel like it's almost like a matter of time before they either launch or they do something that gets them in just as much trouble as Pump Fun are currently in. It's just sort of the degen space. It's so short term, and it's very challenging to build sustainably in this particular area. And I commend the people who try to, even the Pump Fun guys, like trying to build in an inherently degenerate narrative and ecosystem is going to be challenging for anybody. Also, I'm sorry, if I'm looking out to the left, I'm controlling the video there, I apologize. So that's Bonk, that's Pump, that's the section. I'm wondering if anyone is thinking to themselves, this looks bizarrely familiar. Why does this UX look so strangely like deja vu? What is that? If you're feeling that way, and I've been feeling this way for a little while. It took me a couple minutes to put my finger on it. It feels like OpenSea 2021, right? It's just, as much as the UX is sort of JPEG friendly, this was OpenSea 2021. And Pump Fun was just the first guy to do it. And then Bonk Fun's come along and they're the second guy to do it. And someone else is going to come along and they're going to build some sort of airdrop and they're going to try and do a blur play and they're probably going to fizzle out too. I think what we're seeing right now is really just different manifestations of cultural interest at different stages in market cycles. Because if you'd used OpenSea in 2021, left Web3, just did nothing, deleted Twitter, got out, went and did corporate land, it's 2025, you've decided to come back into it, and the first thing your friend shows you is Bonk, you'd be like, oh, is this just an NFT marketplace? Do I buy NFTs here? NFT's still a thing. No! But this is just the next version of that. The cultural phenomenon that we're looking at right now, it's obviously all meme-centered. NFTs were very much meme-centered. These are meme coins, so it's probably even a purer, more like version 2 of that cultural phenomenon. But my instinct and anecdotal evidence is telling me that these are definitely just initial flashes in the pan, and we're going to see them evolve. It's going to become bigger. There's going to be more of this, more volume, more evolution of the general concepts of valuing culture in a marketplace that values culture. It's a weird thing to watch, isn't it? So there you have it. Pump Fun died. We knew it was going to. Bonk is seeing a huge influx in volume. They're sort of taking the interest away from Pump at the moment. And the UX feels like we're just going back to basics. We're regressing to the average UX of how you would display a JPEG, an NFT, or any other way to value some sort of unit of culture. And I think it's just going to continue evolving and expanding on that particular time horizon. That's how things are going to change over time. So if you've stuck around to the end, I appreciate you for being here. If you liked what you saw at the start, the little tracker that we've been building, that's coming out very, very shortly. I think I'm going to get back to work, have a coffee, go do some things, some stuff that's on my to-do list. And I'll see you later. Bye-bye.